What's up, nerds and nerdettes and wee little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming.
Shut up and sit down.
What's up, Pixie Posse and wee little pixels all? Welcome to Two Gun Pixie, your gateway to legendary gaming. Now, today's video is going to fit nicely right into our Tabletop Takeout playlist, which is where I do this. I give you bullet points as to why myself, my Two Gun Pixie partner Tom Vulo, the wife, or one of the 20-sided warriors has enjoyed a game once it's hit the table. Now, we do videos every day of the week. Every day a different video. We have different shows. So please, if you wish to support us, become a member of the Pixie Posse. Hey, it's absolutely free. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to tickle that notify bell, just so you know when we drop all of our daily videos. You get a little reminder of that. Usually they're about noon Eastern Standard Time. Now, this game right here, as you saw from the thumbnail, and from my attire, we're talking about Dungeons & Dragons. We are specifically talking right now about 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons and what it is about that system that I love so much. I cut my teeth on the Moldvay Basic. I loved 1st edition. So on 2nd edition. Even less so on 2.5. Yes, there was an unofficial 2.5. By today's standards, that's what it would have been called. Back then, it was just whatever, 2nd edition revised or something like that. The last year or so before 3rd edition rolled out. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm going to talk about what rolled out. 3rd edition. The near limitless customization ability that this game brought to Dungeons & Dragons. As far as I was concerned, a player from the 70s, this changed the entire game field without feeling like at the time it changed Dungeons & Dragons so much. Not like the later editions to me, and I think a lot of people in my age category felt that the change was way too great. You know, how many times are you going to change the rules to something and it's still going to be the same thing? Yeah, I mean, then in this case, we might as well call Man, Myth, and Magic and Tunnels and Trolls Dungeons & Dragons, because they're not the same as the original rules of Dungeons & Dragons. Anyway, I'm going off on something here. Let's talk about 3rd edition. I'm sorry. So yes, 3rd edition, near limitless customization ability. That really grabbed my attention, and that a lot of the players, well, pretty much all of the players that I've ever played 3rd edition with. Besides that, actually a part of that, the robust rules that came with this game, which is partly responsible to why it was so easy to customize things, really streamlined a lot of the aspects of the game, I think, including combat. But more than that, it provided pretty much an answer. Now, if it wasn't in the core player handbook, DM guide, monster manual, eventually there'd be some book, some official book that came out that said something. But there were rules that covered everything. Every possible scenario pretty much was covered by a rule. And if it wasn't, honestly, there was enough rule guidelines that you could intelligently come up with your own house rule for something that wasn't there, just looking at how they logicked everything else for the game. And that really brings me to the fact of the near limitless library of books that became available for 3rd. Now, every series of Dungeons & Dragons, or pretty much any role-playing game that's really out to make money and survive financially, is going to roll out with a ton of products. But 3.5, the 3X series edition for Dungeons & Dragons felt like it was so much more. And in one case, it really was, because of the open game license, which allowed third-party publishers to use the basic 3-book rules of Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, Monster Manual, to be able to create their own gaming system. Of course, Wizards of the Coast, got their kickback for it. Nothing wrong with that. but that caused so many books to come out that were, although not really official, they kind of were, but they weren't. Everything. I mean, I don't think there's anything you can't do with third edition. Now, besides that, they continued second editions, well, primarily, it's a little from first, but primarily second editions use of secondary campaign settings outside of just Greyhawk. Third edition went with this wildly, totally embracing Faerun's Forgotten Realms series, but also through the use of open game license, White Wolf Publishing doing a whole series of D20 Ravenloft campaign setting books, which I thought were pretty superior, actually. Planescape, Eberron, it was supported by a hell of a lot of campaign settings. And any good DM worth their salt would be able to make their own anyway. But the amount of material that you had for character creation, world building, is absolutely unbelievable. Just using those books alone from third edition, there's no world or character that a DM cannot create or allow in their system. Now, the online community was pretty big too, still is. The online community for third edition. Third edition has been dropped by the community with fourth and then fifth. Well, fourth, so fourth edition brought a lot of people back to third. Then fifth edition came out, kind of drew everyone back into Wizards of the Coast's current view of what Dungeons and Dragons should be. And then with 5th edition 2024, it came out at the end of 2024. I still think it should have been called 25. Anyway, that hit people so hard that it created another flood back to 3rd edition. So the online community is huge. The amount of resources that are available are definitely are much more than the hardcover and softcover books that are available, the physical prints. The amount of stuff, the amount of adventures, the amount of Dragon magazines, Dungeon magazines that are attached with 3rd edition. I'm telling you, there's nothing you can't do with it. I really did find this to be, after trying 4th edition and reading through 5th edition, I think that 3rd edition, 3.x, is really the sweetest spot between all the new stuff they're doing and all the old stuff that came before. It seems to be the fulcrum balance point between everything. And maybe that's why so many people keep going back to it. At the time I'm filming this, which is probably about a year ago right now, because it's April 25, May 25. I'm sorry, May 25. So it's been maybe about a year. But yeah, we're just going back. I'm bringing my group back to basic Dungeons and Dragons, and because I want to do 2 modules with the basic rules. I want to do Lost City and I want to do Castle Amber, and after that, I'm thinking about converting us to Advance for a couple of modules. Do the run. We did 3rd edition for a long time here, so yeah, let's change things up. So what are your thoughts on 3rd edition? Do you have a favorite point about it? Now, I know sometimes there's so much information that you can get paralyzed. Save burst paralyzation, please. There is. And one of the things, if you don't know this going forward, let me say this before I get ready to sign off. If you don't know this about 3rd edition character creation, wow, let me just tell you this right now to save your ass some trouble. Much like UFOs, we're talking reverse engineering. What will help you best down the road for your character is knowing what prestige class you want, what specialty class it is. 2nd edition, it would have been called a kit, a character kit. But you have to know what prestige class you want, because there are special requirements needed to get there. So you can usually, when you attain 6th level, you can usually, in most prestige classes, take your 6th character level as the first level of that prestige, if you meet all the requirements. So if you wait until you're branching from you're breaching from 5th to 6th level to start looking at what you want, you might not find anything you really want. You're going to find a lot of things that you're going to say, ah, shit. If I had just taken this 2 levels earlier, if I had taken that from the beginning. You need to reverse engineer your characters. Find the prestige class you want and what it takes to get there. Kind of like real life. If you want a specific job, that has specific skills, the earlier you know that and you can start practicing and training, the better chance you are of getting that, or at least being good at what you want to do. I guess there's a little bit of real life in there. But yeah, if you're going to make a character for 3rd edition, please reverse engineer that character. Do you have a favorite point about 3rd edition? Something that you liked about the feats, the classes, the prestiges, the skills, a particular character? Or maybe one of the adventures. They had some good adventures. I still prefer the basic and AD&D line of classic modules. I still think they are some of the best. But 3rd edition, they did bring a lot of them into the fold. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite edition? Do you think I'm crazy for liking 3rd? Put that all in the comments and let's talk about it. Thank you for joining me. I'm your buddy Big John AG for Two Gun Fixer presents Legendary Gaming, and I am out of here.